and welcome back to my channel. I'm Rosa and this is Honestly Rosa. So today I thought I would bring you a little insight into my experience of the first year at uni as a mature student. So slightly different to some, but as with anyone who's been at uni this year, you'll know it's been an unusual year so far. A bit about me, if you didn't already know. I am 24. I started university when I was 23. I'm studying English literature and creative writing at the University of East Anglia. My journey to university was slightly unconventional, as it'd been about 4 or 5 years maybe since I'd completed my A-levels. So my application process was a bit different to others, as I'd already completed everything. I did apply through UCAS and I applied late after the deadline, but I think because I already had my grades, it was easier to get through on my half. I applied for 4 out of 5 unis that I was able to. I applied to the University of Kent. I applied to Canterbury Christ Church University just as it was another local one. They tend to be quite easy to get into, it was sort of a safe choice. And also the University of Surrey, and I obviously applied to the University of East Anglia. I had to jump through the most hoops for them and it made me want to get in the most. Within the first 3 days of me sending off my application, I got an unconditional offer from Christchurch, which isn't surprising because I already had my grades and they're quite easy to get into. Originally had a conditional offer from the University of Surrey. Is it Guildford? I can't remember what it's called. And I emailed them as a questioning it because there was nothing I could do to make it unconditional because I'd already done all my prior education. And subsequently, they didn't even get back to me. They just removed their offer, so I didn't want to go there anyway. Kent asked me to send them certificates of my A-levels. UEA asked me to send them first evidence of my certificates of A-levels. Then they asked me to write an essay based on a piece of reading, which really got me hooked. Being asked to do the essay for UEA really got me hooked because I had been wanting to learn and use my mind for so long that being given work to do actually made me want to go there. So I did the essay, and then they asked me to send a portfolio of my previous creative writing work, so I sent them that. And each time I had a few weeks wait, I can't remember how long in between. And the more and more I had to do for them, the more and more I wanted to get in. I did have some help from my old creative writing tutor from college. He actually lives near me and helped me with proofreading and sending off my application. He was my reference. All in all, it ended up being quite a quick turnaround. I decided I wanted to go to uni on the 4th of March 2019. And I began my application. I had it sent in by the 15th of March, so that's just over 10 days, when obviously the deadline for applications was the 15th of January, so it was late. I found out I got into UEA, I think it was the 1st or the 8th of May. I can't remember which it was, they're both a Wednesday, and I know it was a Wednesday because it was my first day at a new job, and it was the most hectic first day in a kitchen job ever, but nothing could dull my happiness because I knew I'd just got into the uni. It was literally 2 months. It was a very quick turnaround, but again, as a mature student, a bit simpler in that sense because I already had all my grades. Experience-wise, it was not a normal first year uni experience. Because I'm a mature student, so it was obviously slightly different than going when you're fresh out of school. But also we had strikes at the end of the first semester and halfway through the second semester. So quite a lot of our contact time was interrupted, and my course is very low on contact hours. It's 6 to 8 hours a week, so it wasn't very heavy to start with, and then some of the weeks I'd end up not having any contact at all, so that was a bit disorientating. And as much as I'm a person who thinks that I do better with going with the flow of things, I do need a structure to my day, just because it makes me work so much better. And obviously, most obvious disruption to the year, oh sweet Rona. So instead of finishing my uni year this week, as you're watching it now, I left uni just before Easter, but we didn't come back after reading week halfway through the semester, so I have had maybe about a semester and a quarter of tuition this year. So I thought I'd get on to some of the questions I had. I asked some questions over on Instagram. First one is, so I'm just using my phone, and the first one is from the Eco Warriors. Do you like student accommodation, sharing kitchen, living space, etc.? So I had a 2-bedroom unit, as if you've watched my previous vlogs, you'll have seen literally 2 bedrooms, a sort of small square hallway in between them, and very tiny kitchen that one person could stand in at a time, and a bathroom that we shared. So my experience of uni accommodation was a bit different to maybe some others, as I opted not to live in a flat with about 6+ people, but I did live in halls on campus, which I did appreciate, because getting up for a 9 AM lecture involved literally just making my coffee, leaving out the front door and going to class, which was great. It was only about a 5-minute walk at maximum. So I'm really glad I lived on campus. I really enjoyed living there. It's such a lovely campus, especially at UEA. There's loads of green space. I was a 30-second walk away from the lake. There was fresh air. It was really good. I had a lovely view out my window. It had this great big square window, and I could see literally just nature outside of it, so it was great. So I really enjoyed it. I don't think I'd have enjoyed sharing a kitchen with loads of people, just because I'm quite clean and tidy and I don't enjoy cleaning up after people. My flatmate was very similar to me. We worked well sharing a tiny kitchen together. We didn't have a living space to share as such, because it was only a 2-bedroom flat, which is a bit of a shame, because I mean, we got on well enough that we would sit and watch films together in each other's rooms. But if we hadn't, but we'd still wanted to socialise, it would have been nice to have like a sofa or like a small table or something that we could like sit together that wasn't in our own spaces. It would have been nice, but I guess since you're asking for the more privacy end of it, there are compromises you have to make. I have yet to have had my own space in life, so I've always had to share a kitchen, so that's not that unusual. Whether it was with my mum or where I lived before, sharing a kitchen just comes naturally to me, but I would at some point like to have my own kitchen. That is the dream. We were respectful of each other, so she didn't mind that I sometimes use the kitchen to film recipe videos or vlog, and I was respectful of her. I didn't make her be in any vlogs that she didn't want to be. I enjoyed living on campus. I enjoyed sharing a flat with her. We'll have to see where next year takes us, as I haven't sorted out where I'm living next year because of everything that's happened. So I'm going to be, I don't even know when I'm going to go back. So it's going to be a bit last minute. Okay, I have a question from my friend Riley. Did the age difference affect your interactions with younger peers? So I thought it would affect me more, but in fact a lot of the people that I made friends with on my course were younger. It was just the people I clicked with more. There were some differences, obviously some people tend to go out more, or some people, a lot of them were quite, I don't know, I feel like with the creative writing group, is a mentality that kind of comes with that kind of study, that whatever age you kind of tie into it a bit. I don't know, that's my experience of it. A lot of the people that I've spoken to were very aware of the world, had eyes open towards environmental and social issues, and again were engaging to talk with. So I wouldn't say that it affected it too much. Obviously there were some things that I felt a little bit apart from the group just for being a bit older, as having like different life experiences, but I didn't necessarily make my closest friends through the course. I think my closest friends I made through my pole community, and some of my closest connections I made were either third-year students or PhD students, so they were closer to my age in a way. So I kind of ended up gravitating towards people who were more like me, which brings me on to the point about making friends. I found the cons of making friends at uni as a mature student were that a lot of people seem to make their friends through their flatmates, and obviously if you have a big flat you have more chances to make friends with people that you might click with. Doesn't necessarily mean you will click with any of them, but there's more people, and I only shared a flat with one person, so I was lucky that I did click with her, but obviously that's only one person, and she was local, so she obviously had her local friends still around and I didn't. Yeah, I found it harder to make closer friends than anticipated. I also think with the drinking culture, I feel like you're expected to make friends through going out and clubbing or drinking, and I went out to the club once, and that was after a pole competition, just because I felt like I wanted to celebrate, but that's not really my mode of socialising anymore, and I feel like there's less opportunities to socialise outside of drinking. I was part of the pole community there, and they did do sober socials. One I particularly enjoyed was we went trampolining, which was really fun, and funnily enough we did go for a drink afterwards, a couple of us, but just one drink in a pub, which was more my speed. But I feel like with the uni there's less, maybe there are more opportunities to socialise sober, but I feel like there was less publicised sober socials. I mean, they did have like cinema nights, and I could have taken part in more, but I don't know, I feel like there were less people that I knew were going to do those socials, so I didn't really feel like I wanted to. Another con about making friends as a mature student is I made friends with some third years which won't be there next year. Also considering we finished early this year because of everything that happened, I didn't even get to say goodbye to them in person. So there is a con to making friends with older students, because it's going to be sad that I'm going to have to start that process all over again. So that is a downside to being an older student. But the pros of making friends, I joined the pole fitness club, as you probably know. I made some of my best friends through there. There's something about being in classes together, and then because I was part of the competition squad and being in practice almost every day together, you become so much closer. I made some really good friends there. Because I'm on committee as well, that's another sort of layer of social circle, which is really good, and I'll be continuing that next year as well. I'm on committee again. I would suggest, if you are going to go to uni, even if you are a mature student, or if you're not a mature student, join societies, clubs. If you're a sporty person, join sports clubs. It's a great way to make close friendships and feel like you're really part of a community, just because you've all got something in common. Because I found that making friends through the course is slightly harder, because it's less like how I remember college or school. You literally go into your lecture, you listen, you write notes, maybe you exchange a comment with someone next to you. You go to seminar and you end up really only talking about the subject at hand, and then you go. And unless you make the effort to be like, oh, do you want to grab a coffee afterwards, it's harder to actually chat and get to know the people in your course. I did go out for drinks one evening with some of the people from my course, which was nice, and I think more of them did more things at other times, but my time was taken up a lot with pole, so I didn't end up socialising as much as was probably offered. Yeah, making friends on your course doesn't seem to come as easily. I do recommend joining clubs or societies. When I joined UEA, when I first got there, when I sat in my first lecture, I don't know how to describe, but I literally felt I was exactly where I needed to be right in that moment, and I'm so glad that I decided to go to that university. So I'm really glad I decided to take that step at this point in my life. I think if I'd gone when I was younger, I would have probably not made the most of it as I could have done. I think I would have probably not made as much effort. So I'm really glad I'm there now. Okay, another question from Riley. Were there many other mature students? And there were quite a few. I mean, there were mature student socials, but I didn't end up going to any of them, even though I planned to. My flatmate was a mature student. She was a bit older than me as well. Quite a few people on my course were also not necessarily 18 or 19, some of them in their 20s, slightly younger than me, or there were quite a few more mature students, I'd say, proper adults, like 30s upwards. On my course as well. Not that I really socialised with them. I think because my course was so big, it really, English literature and creative writing is a really big course, and a lot of them were younger. I ended up socialising more with more of the younger ones, but yeah, there are quite a few mature students in my uni. So my overall impression of my first year at uni was overall positive. I'm really glad that I've decided to go there. I've not necessarily enjoyed all of the reading lists, but the first year is very, what's the word? It's kind of introductory. Obviously all our modules are mandatory, we don't get to choose any of them. So it was less, some of the bits were less to my taste, but I really enjoyed learning and talking with people about the same kind of subjects, which I've really missed. It feels weird saying it now because I've really not been that motivated to do any kind of work for the past few months, but I am really glad that I've decided to. I really enjoy being at UEA. I've made some really good friends too. I can't wait to get back to the modules that I've actually chosen for second year. As most of us in first year will have passed anyway, but our grades will only count from the first semester, so I know I've done relatively well. A good starting point to work from for next year. I'm just a bit concerned that with all this time off, I'll have fallen out of the habit of writing and reading and sort of thinking critically. I really don't learn well when it comes to like learning from a distance. Originally, before applying to uni, I was even thinking of doing like an online course or something, and then I decided against it because I wanted the whole campus experience and actually going to uni. So the downside of this year has been the fact that so much has had to be online because of everything that's happened, and I hope that we can go back in September and get back to learning in a more traditional sense of the word. Not that I want things to go back to normal, because obviously there are things that need to change in the world, but I would like to learn more in sort of a classroom setting, as that works better for me. So fingers crossed for that. But yeah, I'd say overall it's been a positive first year. There have been some lonely moments I have documented along the way, as I don't think enough people talk about loneliness at uni, even for people who aren't necessarily moving to a different city for the first time. I think it can be a lonely place at times. I hope this video could be found helpful for people who are thinking about going to uni, or entertaining if you just have nothing to do right now and you'd like to watch a video. Let me know if there are any questions you'd like answering, and I'll do my best to get back to them. And I'm hoping to be bringing you more uni vlogs in the future and more motivational bits. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me a comment, and I'll get back to you. Keep up the kindness, my friends.